Modern horror generally revolves around certain overused principles.
Oh no, not a scary face speaking through some garbled text-to-speech.
But sometimes you come across horror that... Sons of the Forest is among the most terrifying pieces of horror I have ever come across. And I know, you were expecting some sort of ultra-meta analog horror game that makes you poop your britches.
Okay, so I just shit my pants on God. I'll be right back.
But hear me out on this one, because the way this game is designed does make me poopy my pantaloons.
Interesting.
The game starts out with the player character flying in a helicopter, and as we know, every time the main character is in a helicopter, it always goes well.
Hard landing.
You are looking for a fellow by the name of Edward Puffton, who went missing on this big, scary island. But luckily for you, you are completely safe, because you're with the PMC, and they'll protect you. Remember, video game helicopters always land safely. There are 3 different locations you can start in: beach, mountains, and, well, forest. You also land with a nice fellow by the name of Kelvin, who just so happens to have gotten brain damage and lost his hearing from the crash. Which doesn't really make sense, because he was wearing a helmet and ear pro last time you saw him. 2 things that would protect him from both of the Now it's time to survive on the big scary island. And you read the Steam page, there's cannibals here. So, it's time to be really careful, because at any second, a cannibal could come eat you. Any second now, they're gonna come over and scare you. Any second now. Well, in the meantime, I guess we can start exploring. In my exploration, I came across a camp that had been set up by a group, presumably from the helicopter we came in on. Just as I got there, the flare they had lit began to die out. They were massacred. Something seriously scary got to them, and it's only a matter of time before it gets to us too. Let me tell you, traveling through this forest is really scary when you know that at any time a cannibal could come eat you. Where are they? Well, I'll be damned. There he is. Guess I should go up and start to fight him, huh? This is perfect. This is what separates Sons of the Forest from every other horror game on the market. Namely, its predecessor, The Forest. While playing in The Forest, within my first 5 minutes on the island, I came across 2 cannibals who were immediately hostile. In a cave in the forest, I came across a mutant who beelined at me. Contrast to that, in Sons of the Forest, my first experience with cannibals resulted in them running away from me and not coming back. That was the whole interaction. After that, days were spent at my base with muddies circling around, but not attacking, because realistically, why would they? I'm a new force on the island. I'm foreign to them. If aliens showed up on Earth and immediately started building some alien household, would your first reaction be to create war with these aliens? Would you immediately kill the aliens if they didn't attack you first? No, because you aren't aware of what they're capable of. But wait, hold on. If the cannibals are scared and run away from one person, then what happened to these groups of people? What got to them? Smash. These are creepies, on the nose, but I don't really know what else I'd call them. These evil mutated demon creatures are a key reason why this game is so damn terrifying. I mean, look at them. I don't even know what to say. This is genuinely horrifying. Look at all the limbs and squishiness. And even better, after killing one of these, you get to gut it and wear its hide as creepy armor. Again, kinda on the nose. Now this thing showing up at your base is most certainly a scary thought, and many times it really does scare the poo-poo. What? I just wrote it really does scare the poo-poo. And many times it really does scare the poo-poo out of you. I mean, seeing a posse of mutant creatures running at you is no fun thought. However, Sons of the Forest can do you one better. You get to deal with these weirdos in a dark, cold, trickling, damp, deep cave. What? I didn't mention the caves? You didn't think the scary part was on the surface, did you? No, no, no. The scary part is crawling into this hellhole. The developers did an astounding job at designing these caves. The way everything just feels so damp and cold really makes the caves feel so alien. Trickling water and rumbling noises creates the sense that you really are hundreds of feet under pure rock, and the occasional wail from an unknown source lets you know that you're not alone. There is no good way to illuminate the cave, which results in you only being able to see 5 feet in front of you. And the randomly placed lights works to give you a vague outline of what might be an adversary, or what might just be a stalagmite. Stupid, dumb, annoying bats randomly decide to scare the piss out of you, and then mutants... Oh, the mutants. The mutants move stupid fast, and there it is again. The thought, the strategy. They don't just all run at you, they stand back, they wait. They circle you and eventually they attack, not all at once either. One will start to fight you while another circles around and surprises you. The way enemies fight in this game is extremely strategic. In contrast to The Forest, Sons of the Forest nails the cave ambience. Instead of a wide open, level playing field, Sons of the Forest creates a bumpy, natural feeling area. There's constantly a roadblock. Traversing it feels like exploring a labyrinth. Everything in the forest felt more round and bright. Rocks were less harsh and bumpy and had a much brighter, drier texture. But in Sons of the Forest, everything is slimy, everything is sharp. Things are much darker, largely due to an arc lighter being used instead of a butane lighter. The purple glow from the arc lighter also adds to the much more cold color scheme of Sons of the Forest caves. Mutants will drain every resource in your inventory. Multiple bullets are required to take down even the lowest class of mutants. Molotovs are reasonably easy to come by, however they require you to briefly sacrifice that precious light. Bows are hard to aim, and after a while hard to get arrows for. Sticky bombs require plenty of resources, and grenades run out quickly. Even with an infinite supply of explosives, using them results in you being unable to harvest creepy armor. You can use a melee weapon, however, as mentioned previously, these things are resilient and tactical, and will drain much of your health. There's a constant looming sense that you're running out of every weapon in your arsenal, and when you leave a cave, you'll likely have less disposable resources than when you came in. All of this results in a constant dread of entering the caves. I mean, seriously. I bought this game on day 1 of early access, and let me tell you, during that week or so of me playing through, I genuinely dreaded playing the game. Horror games don't tend to scare me beyond cheap jump scares, but Sons of the Forest was a whole different story. I remember thinking of it as something I complained about doing, and while playing, I sweated. It's one of the only games to ever actually make me sweat. Besides Fortnite. It's the only horror game to ever actually make me sweat. I would prolong my base building activities as much as I could because of how badly I did not want to explore the caves. But even on the surface, things were stressful. I was constantly worried about a group of cannibals or mutants showing up to my base. The whole island concept is amazing too, because it adds to the feeling that there really isn't an escape. I mean, I probably sound like a widow baby for all of this, but it's just the truth. No game has terrorized me as much as this one. Which draws in a pretty big question. If I hated it so much, why did I continue playing it? This, my friends, is what I believe truly sets this game apart from every other horror game on the market. It isn't just a horror game. If you took away the ghosts from Phasmophobia, it would just be MTV Cribs, the video game. If you took away the animatronics from FNAF, you'd have some lame camera watching game. No monster in the bunker, no mutants in Metro. They would all be lame without the horror element. But the Forest games? They would still be fun. Exploring, building a base, it would still be a great time in a game with great survival mechanics. That's the key here. The developers focused on making the game fun before making it scary. It reminds me of a lost adage shared by developers of old. Bungie.
Gorgeous, but this is an absolutely awful space to fight bad guys in.
Tell them to drop everything and recraft this.
This space needs to be fun before it's pretty.
It's because of this focus on actual fun gameplay that I couldn't stop playing Sons of the Forest. I was having too much fun exploring and building my base, but in order to have more fun, I needed certain items, and in order to get them, I had to explore the caves. Even though I really didn't want to. So let's talk about these amazing mechanics. Sons of the Forest seriously has some of the best survival mechanics out there. The base building is absolutely heat. Usually in games, you retrieve wood by chopping a tree. The wood enters your inventory and you craft it into a building block of some kind. But in the forest, you need to chop down the tree, collect each individual log, and then directly place it into your build. It doesn't just enter your inventory. If you need to collect a bunch, you can make a log holder. You can vary the length of the log by chopping it. You can split it in half. You can make the entire log cabin by placing each individual log. Physics is taken into account. You can't just make a log float, you need to brace it off something. You can make a real door, you can stack rocks to make a wall, or even a whole castle. You can make fences out of sticks by placing each individual stick. The game just feels so real. Everything is seamless. The immersion is commendable. You don't just poof a fire from thin air. You need to break the kindling. You need to use leaves to light it. You need to place each rock around the fire. You killed an animal? Insert Far Cry 3 skinning animation. The inventory isn't just some stupid UI either. It's your backpack with all your items laid out on it. You can see each individual item too. You need to craft? Well then you also need to get all the items manually, and watch the crafting animation. That slows down the gameplay too much? It's not immersive enough? Shut up! And put your frequent items on your backpack so that you can manually select them without even opening up a menu.
But what about saving the game?
What about manually building a shelter and saving the game then? What about each individual armor piece being visible as you put them on? This Molotov doesn't just light itself. You don't have some fancy map UI. You have a GPS. Use it.
Man, I love building my log cabin in the peace of my own home.
Oh no, that's a dead body over there. In the meantime of all of this madness, you can take a nice leisurely stroll through one of the island's many underground resorts. Never mind, that's a creepy. As much as I talk up the game, I do have my complaints. And while I could get into the nitty-gritty, I'm just going to cover the broad strokes of it. There is a noticeable lack of survival elements I would have liked to see in the full release. I kept expecting an update that would introduce making your own ammo. It kind of made sense with the whole 3D printer thing and how scarce ammo is. On the topic of guns, I'm not a super huge fan of the gunplay in this game. It feels very bad, like atrocious. Like games were doing better gunplay 20 years ago. The shooting feels very weird, and it's like the animation is way too slow. And frankly, I wish the guns did a little more damage. Also, with the whole PMC thing, I expected a little more in-depth gun mechanics, but that kind of seemed to be glossed over. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense that no one here has an AR-15. As a matter of fact, it's really weird that no one here seems to have guns at all. They have mag pouches and everything. Why no guns? It makes sense that the player character might not, considering he's just press, but why is there a total of 4 guns across the entire map? I really wanted something more with the guns. Up to release, the vibe kind of felt like going back onto the island with the PMC meant you would wreak havoc on all the bad guys, but in the game, it felt like nobody in the group was trusted enough to be sent on the island with a gun. I'm also, unfortunately, not a big fan of some of the mutant designs. A lot of them were great and headed in the perfect direction, but it's like the devs kind of randomly shifted the design into a way more cartoony approach for half the mutants. And that brings me to the story. Spoilers, by the way. I hate to say it, but End Night, if you hear me, End Night, please, pretty please, get rid of the whole alien concept. The parallel universe thing only works if it's left up to the imagination. The alien city at the end genuinely makes me cringe so bad. It's just trying way too hard. The whole reason the Forest story was ever scary was because it was mysterious. Having an alien spaceship in one of the caves is not mysterious. To be entirely honest, if it were up to me, I'd scrap the entire story of Sons of the Forest. It's just lame, and without any narrative impact. In The Forest, you had to make the moral decision of either sacrificing someone else to save your son, or letting him die. The revelation of Timmy being abducted as a sacrifice to save the scientist's daughter felt deserved and impactful. But Sons of the Forest got us nowhere. In the end, there wasn't really an impactful reveal. It's not even like Timmy was cured of his weird mutant thing from the last game. And I mean, seriously, this is what you're fighting? Timmy can just do this? How? Why? Do the devs not understand how goofy this looks? It worked in The Forest because the final boss was actually designed like a big spider thing. It was scary. But now it's just the whale. The whale who wants to know what was in the cube. But why does it matter? I don't even understand what happened in the cube. I don't understand what any of this is. I liked the whole underground demon thingies. Those were genuinely cool, but they light on fire when I wave a cross at them? That's how I kill them? I never got the sense that this was some kind of biblical horror. Oh, you got the mutant lady pregnant, because of course you did. Don't even get me started on the animation. It's so unbearable. The voice acting is also pretty terrible.
Where did you get this?
And in the end, you're worse off than when you started, with a ton of questions. And not good questions either, lame questions. Questions you shouldn't need to have. How can you be so good at creating amazing gameplay and so bad at creating a half-decent story? My suggestion? Scrap 90% of the ending. Get rid of the whole alien thing with the spaceship and revamp the boss fight. Make him look actually scary and not just some stupid blob. Redo the voice acting. Find anybody who knows how to animate and keep the mystery of the forest. Wowzers. I might have gone on a little bit of a rant. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go throw more rocks at Kelvin's head.
Far out into the wilderness to kill them.